So people going into a 9-year will experience people coming and going out of their life, changes in many ways, and it can be kind of a discombobulating, but also sometimes highly satisfactory experience, depending how you decide to go into it.
Depends on how attached you are to it, too. And
yeah.
I think, I don't know, we've covered a lot of territory here, but one thing I was going to, we always do that. Do we go deep or do we go deep? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, there's nothing superficial here, but here's the thing. If people are watching this video and wanted to have a reading with you, can you do that for them? Like taking into consideration the numerology of the year? Because I think that's really helpful. You kind of, sometimes it's not so much that, I know you don't do reading their future kind of stuff. That's not your thing so much, but the potentials.
Sometimes I do.
Yeah, sometimes you do, but I mean, yeah, but it's always the thing about seeing what you can see further down the road than a person who doesn't have that gift, but people always can change their outcome.
Absolutely.
That's what I love about it. So it's kind of good.
I prefer to talk to people in that way.
Well, I like that
because talk to people in a way that gives them that chance to change their, to keep it open so they don't lock themselves into something I might say.
Yeah, well, that's what's empowering about it. In the tools that are available now that people like you, Debbie, have, it's not like the old fortune teller that just, said this was going to happen and person went, oh, I'm doomed. What's happened, I think, with the gifts that have been revealed these are potentials. If you keep doing X, Y, Z, your compass is headed for, the big D or whatever it might be. Yeah, that's just a number. That's just a letter. It doesn't mean anything. But if you are,
well, I've started to do a lot of transformational work as I do readings by looking at what's current in a person's life and where they're at and what, especially with the tarot cards, what wants to be seen, and then turning more cards to see what could be until we find a positive. And so we get a whole path, usually a journey from where the person is to where they could be in a much more positive light. And sometimes that's 2 cards and sometimes that's 5 cards. It really doesn't matter. But with each card that gets turned up, there's usually another gift or something that person didn't realize. Or in the moment, a message can come through to both of us about what that card means in relationship to where they're at or where their next step is. And by the time we get to that final destination where we're both happy with the card that shows up, then there has been a beautiful transformation of understanding, which I think people can take away and very quickly put in. They seem to, in this time, I've seen people make some pretty quick shifts in their lives into something new.
Yeah, it's just a matter of having that little bit of a tool, a little bit of an insight. It's like, when you walk out of the bathroom with toilet paper stuck on the back of your dress and you're walking along and you think everything is cool and somebody else says, hey, did you know your dress is stuck in your pants and you got toilet paper hanging out? That's kind of what, right?
Well, this could be a little too close to home, Catherine.
Well, I saw this happen one night at a dance. We were at a dance and the band was on the stage and the light was on the bathrooms for some reason. Well, it wasn't on the bathroom, but when the bathroom door opened, of course, the light from inside poured out and this woman came out and you could tell she had primped and she had her lipstick on and she was just kind of strutting it. And the toilet paper was stuck on her shoe and her skirt was stuck into her pantyhose and she's walking out and somebody ran up and told her. But it was hilarious in the sense that it's hilarious in the sense it wasn't me, I guess, but also that, I mean, maybe, I don't know, I may
have... But for the grace of God go I.
Yeah, except that what I see is that's exactly the same idea as when we're walking out strutting our stuff in life and we don't know about something that's stuck on us. And that's where you kind of can help to say, hey,
Yeah.
did
What's
you know
behind us that we can't really see? Yeah.
you know, you're seeing things from, and you use so many tools, and you know, sorry, I didn't mean to make it about bathroom humor, but it just happened that way. You never know where my mind's going to go.
We'll be checking behind us now.
Yeah, well, there you go. So,
Well, I think too that often just by having a certain card come up and it meaning something for me, it opens a door for the wisdom that the person brings into the room with them to come forth. And that can come from them. It can come from me. It can come through us. It can come through the cards themselves. So there's so many different routes. I can't tell you how many different kinds of inspiration have come when I'm doing readings, that it's always different.
well,
And I always learn. I always learn.
I know, and a lot of times when we are having a conversation, you know, you will we'll be just talking like this, generalities, and then you will say, well, actually, your guides are here right now, or you'll start to say something and then you'll kind of stop yourself and go, and this is coming straight from your guides. So it's like there's it just it's funny, and when that happens. So, but I was just thinking, you know, since we're in this conversation and coming to the end, do you have anybody there right now that wants to give us a little bit of a wisdom before we go? Or I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but sometimes it happens. And
No, it's okay. Everything for a reason, right? Everything for a reason. And that is the message. Everything is for a reason. And what is happening to us in 2014 is more experiences that teach us to trust that everything is unfolding in its right and perfect way. And that everything that we go through, there's going to be situations that come up for people that can look fairly frightening from the front face of it. Because what happens to us when we start to really, really get free from our lives is we walk through our most difficult fears that we have been successful in avoiding the rest of our life. You know, that's what we do, is we avoid the fears and how they look. And so what the message is here is that what is truly going on is we're being taken lovingly and gently by the hand and led through the things that have been the most frightful looking for us into the light of something quite different. And this will result very quickly in a transformational shift in people's level of trust in themselves and in the process of life, which is what needs to happen. Because to go back to where this whole problem comes from, if we go back to bullying and rescuing and persecuting, is us doing it to ourselves. It's never done just to the outer. It's always begins in our heart when we're in relationship to ourselves. We persecute, we victimize, and we rescue unnecessarily. Rescuing has a positive connotation, but the truth about rescuing that needs to be stated is that it's when we get an egoic satisfaction from another person's plight, thinking we're better than, stronger than, greater than, and using that energy to victimize, to persecute. So we do that to ourselves. We do it to ourselves first.
And I think that I get what you're saying there, but there's also the other situations where there truly someone does need a hero in the sense of like a small child or a situation, you know, a house is on fire and you need, you know, there are times.
Exactly. That's quite different.
But, you know, when those
that
things.
We're to help each other too.
Yeah. But to help each other, but in the sense I feel like the reason when you see someone who has done something who seemingly heroic, usually with an extreme sense of strength or able to overcome something, they've had some divine inspiration to do it. And usually when someone will say to call them a hero, their response is, I'm not a hero. I did what any other person would have done in my situation. They always deny that. And I think that's why. Because that truly is a natural state of being spirit in human. It's, like we are here to help each other. And so when that happens, it's not our ego. Because if it was the ego, when you call them a hero, they'd be going, I'm a hero, I'm getting out their cape. So that's a really good indicator.
It's true.
Yeah, I was just thinking for myself in my own life, that's a good compass. If I feel like I need to save someone from something, I'm actually disempowering them. If in their normal course of their lives, it doesn't require me to intervene, then to do so, I'm actually standing between them and God, which is ridiculous because they have the same access as I have. But if there's a situation that calls for some kind of heroism, spirit will guide me. I don't have to think about being a hero.
Right. It's the energy that comes through us in those heroic moments. And that can happen with the smallest thing.
Sure.
The person that you see on the street and you give them a big wide smile.
Yes.
Somebody drops their wallet and you pick it up with those things are such simple acts of heroism.
Mm-hmm. And they're natural. They're natural. They come to us naturally. No effort.
They do. And that's the truth of our sacred gifts, is they come through us, not in response to the egoic mind or the ego, which is tends to berate us and harass us, and because the ego's only way to keep us safe is through fear. It doesn't have access to the heroic aspects of us. It only has fear. And when we give the ego that job of keeping us safe in places where we're lacking trust in our connection to divinity, then our ego has only that capacity to use fear and blame and all the agents of fear.
Yeah. Well, I think I think this has been really, as always, an awesome and deep, delicious chat. And I'm
well, I think, sometimes we may put our listeners a little bit at a loss because we're so used to speaking together. We have shortcuts in our own personal conversation, and we can range because we have done so much talking together. So I hope that when people listen to us, they can just relax into it and allow that what they need to understand or what wants to come to them is just there, and not to make it a struggle. I know that you and I have a really powerful set of shortcuts when we talk.
That's true. But you know what? I also want to say that I encourage people to, if you're feeling like, okay, I got something, but I didn't understand it all, go back and listen again. Nobody's watching you. It doesn't matter. You can do it at your own leisure. Well, it's important because, what people might not realize is that you and I and every other person who's on this planet is still constantly expanding. We're learning every day. So we have this conversation now, and when I was creating a new little video, a fun video, just sort of highlighting my guests and what's happened on the show. And when I looked at some of the clips, it's refreshing. It's something new. I'm looking at it through different eyes. So every minute, like you say, we're changing. Yeah. So you may not actually get everything today, but it's still here.
There's always that possibility too that if someone has a question, they can contact us. Mm-hmm. Why not? We're on Facebook, and sometimes things need clarifying. That's the absolute truth, because we're talking across the void of our different experiences, and it helps to fill in gaps when someone asks that question of like, what the heck were you talking about there?
And you know what? I think I agree. And not only that, it will help us. It will take us deeper too. It always does. There's no
Yes.
stupid questions. They're always part of that expansion, and just absolutely. So.
Indeed.
And that so thank you very much, Debbi Coleen, for joining me on Let's Get Real, chatting with Catherine. Go deep or go home. And I look forward to our next chat.
Thanks, Catherine. It's always fun.
It is that. All right. And for the rest of you, until next time, take care.
More. We are creating an exquisite world. Until next time, take care.